Hello, this video will provide information on some of the commonly used iOS interface items. Knowing how to describe the function, location, and appearance of each of these items will be useful to sighted and non-sighted users alike. For those who are new to using one of these devices, solid descriptions of these items is essential. As we move through learning about some of these common iOS interface items, it's worth keeping in mind that for people who use the built-in screen reader called VoiceOver on these devices, the way they access some of these features will look different from what I'm showing here. Let's start with the lock screen. The lock screen is a security feature that restricts access to the device by requiring an ID, such as a code, fingerprint, or a face scan, or for the more daring, nothing at all. The lock screen takes up the full screen. It provides the date and time near the top of the screen and displays the method to unlock near the bottom middle. The lock screen may also display other information such as notifications or a media player in the middle of the screen depending on the user's settings. We'll have a look now. There's the date and time and our method to unlock at the bottom. Next, let's look at the shutdown screen. The shutdown screen gives access to the power off slider. Access the shutdown screen by holding the power button for 4 seconds. iPhone 10 and above users will need to hold the side button and the volume up button down together for 4 seconds. When the shutdown screen is up, the power off slider is near the top and a cancel button to back out of the power off process is at the bottom middle. Let's have a look. There's our shutdown slider at the top and our cancel button at the bottom middle, and our SOS or emergency slider would appear in the middle if the phone were set to have that up. Now we'll look at the home screen. The home screen takes up the full screen and is similar to your desktop on a PC, and it has a few components that we will delve into here further. It can be thought of as home base and the main starting point for launching into doing most anything on the device. This is our home screen that we see here. Now let's talk about the status bar. The status bar is a thin horizontal line of information at the very top of the screen. It contains information about your phone's status. It includes the system clock, network information, battery status, and several other items intermittently. The status bar will also show up over top of some, but not all apps. I'll zoom in so that you can get a better look. Here we see our network information along the top, and if we keep looking across that little narrow band, we see our system clock, and then finally our battery status and a location indicator. Looking at the app, folder, and other icons that we see on my screen right now, these icons are arranged in a grid-like pattern and can take up to the whole screen. Folders are icons where multiple other icons can reside and are typically used to group like icons together. For example, we can look inside my music apps folder and see that we've got a bunch of apps having to do with music all grouped together. Icons can also be created for direct shortcuts to specific websites or for processes created through the Apple Shortcuts app. Badges appear on icons to indicate associated new items or information related to that app. Badges are a small red dot on one corner of the icon with a number that represents the number of new items. For example, we can look at my Messages app and see that there are 27 unread messages. The page indicator. These are a horizontal series of dots just below the last set of home screen icons and above the dock. They indicate how many home screen pages the device currently has and which one is currently shown. I'll zoom in on the page indicator. It's this small series of dots right here. As more apps are added to the device, extra home screens appear as needed. Apparently, a device can have up to 15 home screens. That's a lot of apps. My phone has one, and if I slide to the left, I see the next one and another slide. I have 3 home screens. We'll look at the Today page. The Today page is a customizable page and is to the left of the first home screen. It shows information about the user's day. It also provides a spotlight search bar at the top of the screen for searching the device for information. The dock is the bottom row of icons on your device. These items show regardless of which home screen you are on. You can see that the dock stays static when I move between my home screens. On larger devices, the dock can be customized and split from left to right to show docked items on the left and recently used items on the right. The app switcher is a feature that allows one to switch among open apps or to fully close apps so that they do not run in the background. I can access the app switcher by doing a quick double press on my home button. And I can switch between these apps just by dragging and then picking the one that I want to actually look at by touching it. To close an app, I again go into the app switcher and then just flick up on the app that I want to close permanently. The Control Center is a quick access customizable screen with various icons to control aspects of the device. Through settings, items can be added, removed, or reordered on the page. On this device, I access the Control Center by flicking upwards from the bottom middle of the screen. But on some devices, you flick down from the top right corner to access the Control Center. The notification screen is one that shows a list of the most recent notifications that the device has provided. It is a vertical list of these notifications and it shows the clock and date at the top. The Spotlight search screen has a search field at the top of the screen. I access it on this device by flicking downwards somewhere near the middle of the screen. It is used for searching your phone for apps, settings, contacts, messages, emails, and music, etc. And it presents a fast way of finding things if you don't remember where they live on the phone. Spotlight Search, as we've already discovered, can also be found on the Today screen. The back button exists to move a user back through screens of an app that they moved through. It is located at the top left of a screen or sometimes at the top left of a panel on a screen. Often the button will name what you will be moving back to. Sometimes the button will just say back, and other times it will just be a left-facing chevron symbol. We'll look at the back button by going through settings. If I go into settings and then go into my general settings and then go into accessibility, now we've got a couple of back buttons to look at. I'll zoom in, and the back button here, when I click it, is going to bring us back to our general settings. And then from here, the back button is just going to go to the main settings screen. The share button can be found in many apps and is a function that allows a user to share content currently on the screen with people or with other apps on that user's device. We'll look at the share button by going to, in this case, Safari. And the share button looks like a square with an up-facing arrow. I'll zoom in on it. And when I click that icon, I get a list of ways that I can share this content, either with other people or with apps on my device. Siri is a voice assistant that can be called upon to give information or to perform tasks. Siri is accessed by pressing and holding the home button or the side button on an iPhone 10 and above for about 1 second. If the phone has been trained to recognize the owner's voice, Siri can be summoned by saying, "Hey Siri." The Siri screen has a squiggly horizontal line at the bottom of the screen that indicates it is waiting for the user to make a verbal request. If the user remains silent, that line will turn to a button to reactivate the feature, and the main body of the screen will show suggestions on how Siri can be used. And now we see that there's a button here on the screen to reactivate Siri and a list of ways that we can scroll through and find out more about using Siri. 3D Touch is available on some devices. It provides extra shortcuts to using an app or previews of content. Objects such as home screen icons, control center icons, and mail in my inbox will respond to a 3D touch. A 3D touch is made by pressing and holding on an item for a second with slightly increased pressure over what would normally be used. If the item has 3D functions, they will pop up next to the icon. So if I press and hold somewhat firmly on my mail icon, I can see options for interacting with mail without actually having to go in the app. Another example would be if I flick up to my control center, I can press and hold firmly on some of these items and have extra functions appear. Thanks for watching.